Jason.
And this is the Perfectly Screwed Podcast. This episode, what episode is this? 59? 60? Something like that.
I don't even know anymore.
I don't either. It's either 59 or 60. I know we're around there
59,
somewhere.
60, I don't know. It's a lot. I'm tired of seeing your fucking face.
I know. Shit.
No, that's the thing. Like,
actually, I owe you $5. We finally hit the $10 threshold on our payments.
Oh.
So now I owe you $5. I got to give you $5. That's your half.
That's
your half for the
that's
8 months.
That's the one thing. Well, that's one of the reasons I keep coming over here and making these.
It's the $5 every
episodes.
month.
Well, you're an honest man.
It's the $5.
You're an honest man. Like, I know that I'm going to get
months.
50-50. You know what I'm saying? Not everybody, especially with gas prices the way they are, would have openly admitted that to the entire world.
It's the $5 every 8 months. That's why we do what we do.
I mean, you literally just told
That's
at least
why we do
or 1 million viewers that.
Yeah. Okay. If we had 1 million viewers, we'd make a lot more than $5 every 8 months.
But it's that attitude is the reason we don't, Brian. You have to act as if we do. We do.
Okay. Well, you 1,000 people will enjoy that I'm giving you $5.
I'll take 1,000.
Yeah, the 1,000 people that listen to us on a monthly basis will enjoy us. What the hell? I'm sitting here and I'm totally lost.
Well, the bottom line is,
you know what? I have no news to talk about either. Like no brand new news except for Biden fucked up again. But
the only news I've been hearing is I guess it's like hell in Europe.
Yeah,
apparently. Yeah. Everybody's like passing out, dying.
Yeah, they're
so hot.
Yeah.
How hot is it? I don't even know how hot.
Dude, we have record-breaking temperatures now. The president's going to force climate change because he's going to force stuff to change the climate because it's getting too hot, I guess, and stuff. I don't know. Texas is going through a big problem because their electrical grid can't handle the power it's draining because everybody's using their air conditioning. so they're having a slight problem with their electrical grid. I'm telling you, I blame Biden. I blame him for all of this stuff that's going on because he just doesn't get pussy enough. I think that's the problem. I really do. I mean, we had Trump in office and prices were low because Trump was, say what you will about.
He was in a good mood.
Say what you will about Trump. He was a pimp. He was a pimp. He just grabbed him by the biscuit.
He will walk right up there and grab him, motherfucker.
Right. Dude. Just like, bitch, you're coming home with me. He wasn't playing. He didn't ask. He said, bitch, you taking some Trump dick.
I feel like when you're a child and you have the dream and the vision in your mind to one day become the president of the United States of America, right? You're envisioning to try to change the world and make it a better place and all that blah 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 bullshit. What you're really envisioning, right, is to be the president of the United States. Like, I can fuck any bitch I want.
You're damn right.
I can literally fuck any bitch I want.
Oh, by the way, did you hear that they
so it's probably a good argument. Maybe he's not getting enough pussy.
They hacked Hunter Biden's or Biden's kid. That Hunter is his name, right? The boy.
Hunter Biden, yeah.
Yeah, they hacked his cell phone, right? They posted on Reddit. Well, Reddit removed it now, but before they removed it, I guess it showed him like weighing out cocaine and calling hookers. I said, yeah, that's what you do, baby. That's what you do.
Why isn't he president? Like, if he was on the ballot, I might cast my first vote.
I might vote for him, man.
Right?
Yeah, a guy weighs out coke while calling hookers and films it.
Well, that shows me responsibility.
Yeah, that's the kind of guy
you
you
just
need.
Carelessly be laying it out and doing blow and fucking snorting rails.
Yeah.
But he's not.
Yeah, no.
He's being fucking methodical.
Yeah,
making sure it's all laid out right.
He asked the hooker how much she cost. He wanted all the information up front.
Trying to do things honestly.
It's the kind of guy we need.
Trying to goddamn do things honestly.
That's the kind of guy we need in office right there, ladies and gentlemen. A guy who weighs it out and calls the hookers.
I guess I should, pump the brakes on president. I would probably have to make sure the coke's a decent quality. You know what I'm saying?
Well, it's Hunter Biden. It's decent quality.
You would think.
Yeah,
you would hope.
Yeah, I mean he's not Dylan and he's not Dylan.
If he doesn't have the hookup,
he's got the hookup
to the pure shit. Then who does?
Yeah, right. Exactly. Hunter has the pure shit. Hunter has the good shit. So today, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to tell you a little story about a guy named John and a chick. We'll just call her Amanda because that's what they called her in the story. That's not her real name. But we'll start out with these people, and then we'll get into what we're talking about. But John was requested to come to help a woman in Westport. And again, we'll call her Amanda. With some paranormal activity been going on in her home. And which had been where she grew up. She grew up in this home with her mother, her sister, and her brother. And all three of those had recently passed away, interestingly enough. So Amanda was running into some trouble. Like, she was having some trouble with this paranormal activity.
Her mom, her brother, her sister, all dead.
Yeah, all dead. And the home itself had been plagued with things going on, like objects moving on their own. She had doors that would open and slam shut. And
does it say how the other three were killed, how they died?
I don't know yet. As I go on in the story, we might find out. But Amanda also saw a mist coming from the basement doorway. And her young granddaughter said she saw her dead great-uncle Roger near the staircase. So the home had previously belonged to Amanda's mother, Esther, who lived into her 90s, despite the failing health she was having. Also living with her in the home had been Amanda's brother, Roger, who was in his 60s. So first of all these people are old. Okay. So really, you expect them to all kick off.
Right, yeah.
Shit, none of these people are young.
Well, with that not being established at the beginning, I had Amanda pegged as like a 22-year-old.
Yeah, no, Amanda's obviously up there in age also.
Really in shape, really tight.
Yeah, no, we're not talking about that. We're not talking about your hot porno fantasies here. This isn't Edward Penis Hands. This isn't Harry Pooter.
Well, maybe
the Sorcerer's Stone.
Maybe we should consider that, man, because if we could get onto Pornhub, right, that's a huge following.
You know what? I think J.K.
Huge, you know what I mean? Don't mind the pun.
You know who J.K. Rawlings is, right? Mm-hmm. Right, wrote all the Harry Potter series. I swear to God she was a pervert, dude. Because think about it. Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stones.
Oh, yeah.
Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. Come on, man.
100%.
Yeah.
Right.
The Chamber of Secrets.
Yeah.
Come on, man. Perfect porn titles, all of them.
Because she was probably sitting around with a couple friends, right? Drinking, smoking, like, hey, this is going to be big. Like, we really need to fuck with them. Like, we got to come up with something that's...
Some names.
Some encoded messages, you know what I mean? Like Harry Potter, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. The Prisoner of my Azkaban.
Girlfriend's down there fucking chewing on it.
He's taking his Sorcerer's Stones and freeing the Prisoner of Azkaban.
Absolutely, bro.
You're damn right, with his magical wand.
Hey, you fondle around in them stones, you know what I'm saying? There's going to be some sorcery and some magic.
While he's getting the golden snitty-digits. Or the snitty-digits. Whatever he was getting. But anyway, so... Her brother, Roger, was in his 60s, but he was also quite ill himself because he'd been taking the burden of caring for their 90-year-old mother, Esther. The youngest sister, Vivian, was also living there, but she refused to help with her mother's care. So I'm guessing Vivian didn't like Esther too much. You know, that just sounds like Vivian was a bitch. She's like younger, probably in her 50s, but she's like, fuck Esther.
Still holding a grudge, you know what I mean? Esther was probably an old school type mother.
Mm-hmm. Well, Roger was out of the house one day, and Vivian, this little bitch, saw her chance. She saw her chance while Roger was out of the house, and she told her mother about how her brother wasn't going to get any better, and that he might try to put her in a nursing home to rot and die. That's what this young...
Wow.
Yeah, told her mom. And Vivian swore to Esther that if she signed the house over to her and everything else, that she would see that Roger would not remove her from her house, and that she could die there with dignity. So the mother, believing what the youngest daughter said, signed everything over to Vivian, including her power of attorney. At this point. So Roger was he was pissed off when he found out about all this, which obviously he would be, you know. After all, he was the one taking all
care
his
of her.
time,
Right.
right? And, taking everything, even sacrificing his own health to care for his mother. And on top of that,
On top of your smoke.
on top of the prisoner of Azkaban,
Covered in cheese.
he gave her his golden snitchage.
If you're playing the drinking game, then take a shot, please.
Yes. Again, for all of you out there who just tuned in, this is your first episode. We do play a game here, Perfectly Screwed. It's called the drinking game. If I fuck up a word or fuck up a sentence or like that, just completely fuck up, please feel free to take a shot. Not right now. I'm not, because at this point I've worked all night and it's 8 o'clock in the morning, so, I'm not taking any shots.
Brian wanted to say on top of, and he said on toppy.
Yes.
So
actually, I was trying to say...
Or take a drink. That's
Yes. Actually, what I wanted to say was on top of that...
Yep.
He was pissed at Vivian because on top of that, Vivian had lied.
I wonder if they called her Vicky.
Vicky?
Vivian?
Vivian? I don't know. Viv? Probably Viv.
Old Aunt Viv?
Yeah.
Crazy Aunt Viv. She's getting the whole state.
So, once Esther, her mom, had signed everything over to Vivian, she put her mother in a nursing home anyway.
Now that's funny.
This bitch
That's
is
funny.
ruthless as hell. And then she told Roger he had to get out of the house.
Get the fuck out, Rod.
So first of all, her brother's taking care of her mom. And this bitch goes behind his back when he's out trying to shop, get his mom some medical supplies, whatever he was doing. And she lies to her mom, gets her to sign everything over to her. Then she kicks her mom out, puts her in a nursing home, and then says, Roger, fuck you, dude. You're getting out.
Right, and one of the pretexts of signing it over was she promised her mom she was not going to put her in a nursing home.
Yeah. And then shortly after this, Esther died with no cause of death determined. So right after this, Esther died.
I would say old age and heartbreak.
But see, Vivian didn't get away with it because 2 months later, 2 months after she did this, Vivian suffered a ruptured spleen and died unexpectedly. Roger gave into his own health problems a few months after that, and within a span of 8 months, all three had died. So Amanda, the one we're talking about to begin with, who saw this paranormal activity going on in the house, inherited the house and everything in it. She wanted to sell it and be rid of the reminder of all the family drama that she had been watching from the sidelines. So it was while she was cleaning out the house that she discovered the altar. And this is where we're going to get into the stuff we're talking about today, which is voodoo.
Okay.
And while Amanda was cleaning out the house after her almost fucked up again, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, well,
Judges?
Yeah.
I think he caught himself.
I think
but
I did.
Hey, if you want to take a shot, go ahead.
Yeah, please feel free. But while she'd been watching all this, she was cleaning out the house after they all died, and she discovered the altar. There was a small desk in Roger's room with 3 or 4 candles placed across its surface. In the center was a strange box. So before he took ill, Roger was a very successful commercial fisherman, and Amanda thought it might be something he came across in travels for his work. This box was about 8 inches long and 4 inches wide, and it looked kind of like a jewelry box. Inside was a stuffed toy that resembled a fish. It was old and faded, and attached to this stuffed fish, basically, were 3 photographs, 2 of which were people she instantly knew. It was her sister Vivian and her mother Esther. So she finds this box. It's filled with some dirt and some stuff. And then she finds this stuffed looking fish object in the box. And photos of her dead mother and her sister were pinned
in it.
Pinned to this, yes. Little stick pins had been inserted into the doll in various positions. It resembled a voodoo doll. There was also a photo of a man she did not recognize. And if you look at this doll, and see, Jason, you can see it. It doesn't really look like a fish to me. It almost looks like kind of like a person. It's got kind of like a head with something tied on it, a couple eyes, and it's got pins sticking in like the shoulders and like the liver, spleen area.
It almost looks like a bowling pin with a couple little nubs on the side.
Yeah. So, also in the box were extra pins, some dried herbs. She thinks they might have been sage, and there was also some oils and ointments with no labels inside this box. It looked like all the items were old, and that this was something Roger had been doing for many, many years. Like it looked like he knew what he was doing, this wasn't his first thing. So, although Amanda had no way of knowing, Roger's work as a commercial fisherman had brought him in contact with people from various cultures around the world. Sailing out of New Bedford, he'd worked alongside many seamen. I'm sure he did. Yep. I'm sure he was full of seamen, that old Raj.
Always dealing in semen.
Yeah. Me, I like my semen, fresh and right there on the boat myself,
Yeah, I like mine alive.
Yeah, I like it. I like, there's nothing like being pumped full of semen.
If you would.
Yeah.
Warm.
Salty. Anyways.
Really vibrant.
Yeah. But anyways, many seamen from Portugal and Brazil he had came in contact with. So old Raj was taking semen from Portugal and Brazil.
Oh my God!
I mean, he was
to the face.
To the face.
I mean, to the face.
Nothing like a money shot. Nothing like a money shot. Oh, so in Brazilian culture, there's a form of black magic known as macumba. And
where at again?
In Brazilian culture.
Okay.
It's macumba, which is a form of voodoo.
How do you spell that?
Macumba.
Okay.
So macumba. It was possible that Roger learned this version of Brazilian voodoo from one of his fellow fishermen, or seamen, if you will. And Macumba rituals are often used to seek revenge on family members who have done harm to you. And the rituals often involve utilizing a photograph of the person that you want to inflict the dark magic upon. And for that reason, many superstitious Brazilians will not allow a photograph of themselves to be given to someone they don't know. So, after she discovered this altar, Amanda's house started becoming plagued with this paranormal activity we're talking about. Doors would shut, things would move on their own. She saw mist coming out of the basement that she couldn't explain, things like this. Of course, it could just been Alzheimer's. She was in her 60s, for God's sakes. I mean, dementia is a motherfucker.
Or she could have dabbled in that sage. You
know
what I'm saying?
Yeah, it might not have been sage.
Bucket balls.
Yeah,
well, I'm pretty sure sage is an hallucinogen.
Is it?
Yeah.
I am not aware of that.
Yeah.
I know it's used to cleanse houses. I never understood that, though.
Well, there's different types, obviously. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I never understood that. Look. You take salt, some olive oil, and sage, and you sprinkle it all over your house, and that's supposed to get rid of bad spirits. To me, that sounds like a good Italian dip.
Right.
I mean, that sounds like a pesto to me.
Just because it's a good salad.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean it's going to do much for your house.
Yeah. You give me some sage, olive oil, a little sea salt, hell, I'll make you a fucking pasta dish in a while.
I was going to say, man, it sounds like lunch.
I mean, I don't understand why these spirits are so mad because you're throwing sage and salt
unless, of course, the spirits enjoy a nice fresh pesto.
A nice fresh pesto.
And that's you can understand that. You really can. You know what I mean? Like, even on the other side, some things will stay fucking awesome. No matter where you go, heaven, what level of heaven you get to, I would have envisioned Olive Garden salad.
Yeah.
Being there.
Yeah.
Because why not?
Yeah. Well, obviously, clearly there was wine.
I'm a guest.
I mean,
I'm a guest, right? Put it on the table.
I'm saying, if I'm in heaven and I don't have a beer, then what's the fucking point, man?
Yeah, I don't really like beer.
Well, whatever is your drink of choice.
Mountain Dew.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
If I can't,
There's fucking Mountain Dew fountains everywhere.
I want
Olive Garden salads.
And a big fat blunt. If I can't have a big fat blunt, I don't want to go to heaven. I mean, look, if Satan's got the best weed, then I got to go where the best weed is. I'm sorry about life.
I feel like you know how people are. You know what I mean? Hey, I got the killer weed. You know what I mean? I got the best you blah. I feel like if I got a blunt from Jesus,
that would have to be the best weed you ever got.
Like I feel like I have a good argument.
Right?
Like I'm pretty sure this is the best.
Yeah.
Or it's at least top 3.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, where'd you get it? From Jesus.
Yeah, I think he has, pretty good stuff.
But of course you always have that guy, you know what I mean? Like, oh yeah, I've had that, it's pretty good, but I got this shit from Cali, it's fucking way better.
Yeah. You should saw the shit I got from Willie.
Willie is Jesus.
Yeah. But anyway, so Amanda, after all this paranormal activity was going on, she hired a medium to come in and hopefully help with all the, activity that was going on in the house. Maybe take care of some restless, I was about to say restful. Yeah, rested spirits, which I guess if they're dead, they probably are pretty rested at this point.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Plenty of sleep.
But she got a medium to come in. The medium explained that the pins that were stuck into the fish doll were arranged in a way that would inflict pain on the intended target. Without knowing about how Vivian had died, she pointed out that one of the pins appeared to be placed in a place that would represent the spleen.
Really?
Yeah. So they got the photo of Vivian on the doll, and then he had shoved a pin where her spleen would be, and she died mysteriously of her spleen bursting. Yes. So this caused a shiver to go down Amanda's spine when she heard this. The medium also told Amanda that if they took the box with the doll from the altar and buried it in the yard, then the hauntings would stop. But unfortunately, that didn't take.
It didn't work.
No.
We're dealing with a different kind of voodoo here, bud. This isn't regular shit. This is the macumba.
Yeah, it did. Didn't work. So
you're going to have to macumba with a better idea. Yeah. Burying this shit in the yard, bro.
Yeah, it didn't work.
We got some real life black magic going on, medium.
So, after this, Amanda contacts John and his paranormal group. So they came and investigated for about 9 hours, but they didn't see any signs of paranormal activity themselves. They then dug up the box and the doll in hopes that it would bring it back into the house would lead to activity. But they bring the doll and the box back in, and again, nothing happened. John said he believed it was because the haunting was only meant for the family members, that this doll was only cursed to the family.
Yeah.
The mystery also remained as to who the man was in the third photograph that Roger had stuck in the doll. Speculation is that it could have been a business partner that had wronged Roger in some way. And that might also explain why the doll was in the shape of a fish, because he was a fisherman, and if he was trying to get back at his business partner, he would use a fish, to...
Yeah.
So they removed the box from the property. John took it into his own possession, and he eventually turned it over to legendary paranormal researcher and haunted collector John Zaffis. And after they took the box completely off the property and everything, all the strange activity seemed to reach an abrupt end. A sense of peace that had been missing from the home for many decades once again filled its room, and Amanda said the curse had finally been lifted. So, yeah, what do you think of that?
Well, I would say that what we're talking about in a form of voodoo, it wouldn't necessarily produce hauntings, right?
Right.
It has a specific purpose, and that is to cause harm on the directed targets, which we know for sure that it did 2 of them.
Right.
And I would assume the third one too. Like, I guarantee whoever that was.
Oh, yeah.
If we were to find out who it was, you know what I mean? That some weird shit probably happened to him too. But I definitely,
Well, what I find is funny is that his mom was on this doll too. So
yeah,
the thing is, it's like, he seemed like he was this really good son, take care of his mom, and in reality, he's sticking her to a voodoo doll, trying to kill her.
But see, when did that happen? Right, that's you know what I mean. That would be another thing. Like, when did he start this ritual?
Yeah, but
when
they said
when
the box
did he put the curse on his mom?
Yeah,
because was it
after
she signed everything over to Vivian?
And that's a possibility too. Yeah, maybe he was just pissed
about that whole transgression.
Yeah, that she had signed stuff over to Vivian, and maybe that's why he got
it out for both of them.
Yeah,
but see, like, the way I kind of look at voodoo now is through quantum entanglement.
Mm-hmm.
So like quantum entanglement says that if you take a particle, any particle, and you cut it in half, and you split that particle, it does not matter how far away those particles go. You can take one particle, one half, and put the other half on the other end of the universe. And what happens to one will instantaneously happen to the other. So if you quantum entangle an energy, right, this voodoo energy or whatever, and you want it to be negative, and you quantum entanglement with, Vivian and his mom, then yeah, I could see where, you know what I mean, certain rituals with those pins, you know what I'm saying, you're going to inflict harm. And it could be happening without them even knowing it. Why it's happening.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. I 100% agree with that. Well, here's one. Here's an interesting story. And these are some little short stories I got on some voodoo. In the early 20th century, there was a lady named Julia Brown. Okay, early 20th century.
Well,
so
let me say something real quick, though, before we go any further. I also don't think, like, when you say voodoo, like, people automatically think spooky, voodoo dolls, you know what I mean?
Right.
Causing harm. You know what I mean? Voodoo is a real practice, and it's not to cause harm. Like,
no, it's
like
a
anything else,
practice.
right?
Yeah.
Some people use it for bad.
Right.
But mostly, right, the people that practice this is for good. But yeah, go ahead.
Well, there's a difference, too. There's Haitian voodoo, and then there's New Orleans. When you say New Orleans, you're talking about voodoo. And that's a mix of a religion from Haiti, which is not voodoo. It's called voodoo, which is a completely different religion.
Right.
And they don't practice harm. But the ones in New Orleans, when you're talking about, your modern voodoo, no, there's some healing that goes on in voodoo, and a lot of them do use it to heal people and stuff like that. But yes, there is a dark black side to it. And this Julia Brown is actually, interestingly enough, she played on both sides of that.
Oh, wow.
Because she, at first, in the early 20th century, so in the early 1900s, Julia Brown was a local healer and magic practitioner of voodoo in Frenier, L.A., Louisiana. So, Frenier, Louisiana. She traveled all over the village. She performed rituals for people. She was known to heal them and give them the magic touch. So they said she had the magic touch. She would brew them herbs if they were sick, help them. But then the people began to start taking advantage of her. They were demanding her help, and they started saying that she had to help them, and they were going to hurt her and torture her and kill her if she didn't. So she got tired of it, and she began fighting back. So, the ones she deemed disrespectful or ungrateful for what she was doing for them, she would give terrifying predictions, or she would curse them. Now, in the last few weeks before her death in 1915, Brown would sing her curse for the town of Freener to herself over and over again. She would sing all through the town. She'd go through the town singing this. One day I'm going to die, and I'm going to take all of you with me. Now, her passing came as she predicted, and the whole town went to her funeral to pay their respects out of the fear for, the curse she'd been laying on the whole town. But as they began to nail Brown's coffin shut, and they put the last nail in her coffin, because back then they used to nail the coffin shut to prevent people from grave robbing. So as they put the last nail in Brown's coffin, a crazy, devastating hurricane all of a sudden hit this town in Louisiana, tore through the whole village and killed everybody but 2 people. Just as Brown had promised, the town died with her.
Are you serious?
Yeah. And not only that, Brown's curse seemingly lives on. Over the years, many developers, many shit.
I mean,
it's a word. I said it right.
Developers.
Yeah, developers. Many developers. Developers. But many developers over the years, I did it again. Shit. Oh God. Many developers over the years have tried to rebuild on this area over the years, but with no luck. Like every time they try to build, something happens where they run out of money or the place falls down. Or
you know what, man? You know what that sounds like is almost like a. So who else? Who else in story goes around and heals people and has the magic touch, right? Mm-hmm. Who does that sound like? It sounds like Jesus.
Oh, well, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Magic touch, heals people.
Right.
Well, they treated him the same way.
Oh, yeah.
He just took a different approach, right? This girl said, fuck you guys then. Right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Jesus took the martyr approach to where she was like, nah. You know what I mean? You guys don't fucking appreciate what I'm doing. That's cool. You know what I mean? Learn to swim. That's nuts, though, dude. If that's true, that's fucking nuts.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because, early 1900s, you don't have the fucking weather fucking forecast on your phone, and you don't have 3 or 4 days notice to get the fuck out of Dodge that a hurricane's coming. So you can actually imagine that a hurricane would fucking just all of a sudden slam in. And we know.
Oh yeah,
we know what happens.
Hit.
You know what happens down there in, you know what I mean, in Louisiana.
Mm-hmm.
Like that shit's in a bowl.
Oh yeah.
Like,
well, New Orleans is not all of them.
I'm right. I know, but I'm assuming the Spreener's down in that area.
It's a little north of that, yeah.
For a hurricane to fucking.
It's a little north of New Orleans, but yeah, the hurricane just hit, and it's weird because it just hit that town.
Yeah,
it's not like it hit the whole damn area. It just hit that town and just destroyed that one town.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. So what other stories you got?
Oh, let's see. Well, I got some, but they're not really as they're not really as creepy as those, but I mean, you have Adolfo. Have you ever heard of Adolfo Costanzo? Adolfo Costanzo.
Mm-mm.
Well, see, he was a cult leader. He was also a serial killer. And he practiced an offshoot of Haitian voodoo. In the 1980s, he gave psychic readings and worked magic for dangerous drug cartels in Mexico and hitmen. He would cast spells to bring luck, curse their enemies, and he was somehow able to keep his clients from getting busted with just his rituals.
Huh.
Yeah. Now, his rituals involve sacrificing goats, chickens, snakes, and even, of course, humans.
Mm.
But he kind of overstepped his bounds because he kidnapped an American student named Mark Kilroy to use as a sacrifice. So the police began tracking Kilroy, and they found Castillo's base of operations. And when they raided the ranch, they found 15 mutilated corpses, as well as Kilroy's dismembered body. And Castillo was so determined to stay out of prison that he ordered one of his followers to shoot him, which he did promptly.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, man. So, I mean, if you think of, like, this voodoo or any of these practices, right, we're talking about energy.
Mm-hmm.
And so it would make sense to me that you could use and summons up good energy, bad energy.
Correct.
Right? So, also, like, you could like, I'm just trying to make sense of why you would sacrifice humans, and then why people would think that that's going to benefit me. You know what I mean? That's going to keep me from getting busted. So I'm perfectly fine with you sacrificing Mark Kilroy.
Yeah.
So that I don't get fucking pulled over.
Yeah, right.
With this fucking kilo of
the kilo of cocaine.
in my trunk, right?
Right.
But I guess I could understand, though, like, we kind of think of, like, our spirit guides or our guardian angels, right? Helping us and guiding us along the way.
Mm-hmm.
And they're these magnificent, you know, beautiful, angelic beings of light. And I believe that.
Mm-hmm.
But couldn't the same and the opposite be true? Right? If you're fucking praying to lower energy demon beings, well, that doesn't mean they can't protect you. They still can protect you.
Right.
Right? They are there. They can be on your side.
Right.
You know what I mean? It just happens to be that you're going to have to goddamn bring a couple goats and a couple dudes up here and fucking goddamn rip their hearts out if you want our help, motherfucker.
Hey, look, this is what we're going to have to do. Look,
right.
Look, we'll protect you. We'll give you all kinds of money. But what we need you to do...
Like you texted me the other day, something about, what's the dude's name? Sold his soul to the devil.
Oh, Robert Johnson.
The blues player.
Yeah, Robert Johnson.
Right? That kind of, like, because I sold my soul to the devil. Like, okay,
right.
What does that mean?
Supposedly.
Right? What does that mean, though?
I mean...
What exactly are we talking about when you say that?
He said he sold his soul to the devil to learn how to play blues.
But, I mean, what does sell my soul to the devil mean? Like, there was a dude, the real devil, some dude came up and, like, I paid him money? Like, I gave him, what, $200? I don't... You see what I'm saying?
Uh-huh.
Like, sold my soul to the devil? Does that mean he fucking was he ritually in these rituals? In these human sacrifice rituals? In order to play the guitar?
Well...
Is that what sell my soul to the devil means?
The funny part about Robert Johnson is that he said he sold his soul to the devil to learn the blues guitar, right? But he only had one minor hit his whole entire life, right? And it's funny, after Robert Johnson died, right, which is what was predicted, that he would have because he, the devil taught him how to play blues guitar. The devil always tricks you. So the devil said, yeah, you'll be the best blues player in the world. But he never told him he'd be famous in his lifetime. So after he died, they released all his music, and that's when everybody realized how much of a genius Robert Johnson was.
Right.
It was after his death. So, yeah, Robert Johnson didn't really become famous till after his death, and that spawns the legend that he had dealing with the devil. Right, because the devil tricked him. Yeah, you're gonna make the greatest blues songs in the world, but you're never gonna know it.
But what I mean, is that necessarily selling my soul to the devil? I mean, if somebody if somebody told you, Ryan, you know what I mean? Here's a guitar, dude, you're gonna bust out some serious shit. Only problem is, right? Nobody's really gonna know who you are or appreciate this shit until after you're dead.
Right.
Would you be like, now I'll take the guitar back? Fuck no. Fuck no, bro, you're shredding. Right?
I don't know.
I'm sure. Oh, I am. I don't give a fuck. I mean, I'll fucking sit in the backyard with mom, dad, brother, and sister, and they can listen to me shred.
Robert Johnson said that he met the devil at a crossroads in Mississippi of an intersection of two highways, and the devil told him, I'll teach you how to play blues. I'll teach you how to play that guitar greater than anybody's ever played it. But when you die, I get your soul. And he agreed to it, and the devil taught him how to play guitar better than anybody else. But being the devil, he didn't tell him the other part of that. You'll never be famous playing guitar until after you're dead. So you'll never get any of the benefits of learning how to play this guitar really well. See? That's the whole point of that story.
It's a great story.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah. Whether it's true or not, we don't know.
Well, that's what's great about a story, Brian.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, see, I've been reading the Dead Sea Scrolls. I told you, I've got them all. Yeah, I've got all the books that they took out of the Bible: Enoch, Jubilee, Jasher.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's interesting in Enoch. A lot of people think that the Nephilim were the angels that came from heaven, right, to mate with women. That's not true.
No, they were the offspring.
Yeah, the Nephilim are the offspring. They were the giants of the...
the men of renown.
Yeah, they were the giants. The Nephilim were the giants from the Watchers.
Right.
And it doesn't even say angels came from heaven. It says the Watchers came down from heaven.
When the sons of God...
Yeah, the Watchers.
...came into the daughters of men.
Like Enoch says, the Watchers were positioned in heaven to watch us. And when they saw that human women were beautiful, they came down and had sex with the daughters of Cain. So it was Cain's exact lineage, and they made the Nephilim. And then the Nephilim made an offspring called the Euclidi, which were other beings.
Sure.
Like half animal, half human, and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah,
and they were all destroyed.
Because there was all kinds of shit going on that wasn't supposed to be going on.
And then that's why the flood came about in the first place.
Right.
That's why he actually made the flood, was to destroy these beings, because the leader of the Watchers, Azazel, was teaching humans how to use tools and swords and all kinds of
Well, that's
shit.
what's unbelievable about the book of Enoch, man.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So, and that's the thing, like, if you're fucking religious and you're a Christian,
well, that's what I said.
You believe that the Bible
is
the word,
then you have to believe all of it, right?
And
you can't just take Enoch and Tibia.
Just because it was omitted. See, the book of Enoch was omitted from the modernized Christian canon.
Right.
If you go to Ethiopia, it's still in their canon.
Right.
It's still in their Christian canon.
Because the Catholic Church did not like what the book of Enoch had to say.
Well, no, because they had to get rid of it. Because the book of Enoch literally is describing you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, this is in the Bible. Mm-hmm. When the sons of God came into the daughters of men. Well, daughters of men, that's us.
Mm-hmm.
Sons of God, that's something different. Right? We're right there in the Bible, plain as fucking day, they're describing an extraterrestrial being that came down here and fucked our women.
Well, not only that,
and they produced the Nephilim.
Right. And it very clearly in Genesis says, and God, right, Elohim,
Mm-hmm.
which is the name of God, capitalized, met with the Elohim, which means other gods, lowercase,
Yeah.
to decide the fate of the human race.
Right. Yeah, there's a council.
So
of
there was a
people.
whole council of gods.
Right, like the Senate.
And God was just the king of the gods. And there was watchers. And there was angels. And actually it tells you in the book of Enoch that demons are not angels. Enoch said demons are dead Nephilim. When the Nephilim died, they became demons.
Right.
And that's what the demons are. They are the dead Nephilim. They're not angels.
So, obviously, we got a little sidetracked off voodoo here. But,
Right.
But it's an interesting topic.
Oh, yeah.
And this is why. It's because what you're saying is true. We're talking about Elohim is plural, period.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking that's more than one.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking about beings,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like meeting and deciding on fates of people, of us. And some of them were cast down, right, to spend eternity here.
Well, not only
They
that.
were banished from heaven, and they were locked. They can't leave here,
Right.
which means they're still here.
But getting back to voodoo.
They're still here.
Yeah, it clearly says in the Bible that there was witchcraft. That they performed spells, healing spells, and non-healing spells. There was curses, things of that nature, and there was practitioners of voodoo even back then.
Absolutely. Well, look, that's what Jesus. I mean,
Yeah.
voodoo, like you said earlier, voodoo is used to heal people. It's like any of this other healing that's got like Reiki healing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Frequency, energy, reconnective healing. There's 37.5 trillion cells.
I have problems with Reiki people. I think half of them are insane, but
Half of them will probably admit that they are, right?
yeah, I
but
think
their shit
half
works.
of them are crazy. Some of them, I think
Some of
them are just nuts.
It's like anything else, right? So one might work for you that doesn't work for me.
I'll tell you what, there is, and I'm not going to tell her name on here, but there's a person, and you've got to hear from Hillbilly Horror Stories, you have to hear the interviews with this woman. He did 3 of them. And I'll talk about her off the air, but
Right.
yeah, I'll show you the interviews. You've got to look it up on Spotify, and you've got to listen to these 3. Because...
But back to what I was saying, like,
But
there's
she believes in
37.5
Reiki.
trillion cells, right?
Mhm.
Each cell has 0.07 volts of electricity. That's 2.3 some trillion volts of electricity running through our bodies right now at all times.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Some people, if they understand how to tap into this, think about what you can do with that energy, with that electricity. You can heal people.
Oh,
and
yeah.
you don't even have to touch them.
Well, not only can you heal them, you can also curse them. You can kill them. You
100%.
can do all kinds of things.
Exactly right. Great point.
But
Great point.
we're going to cut this off now, guys. And I'll tell you here at the end, stick around, though, because I have an amazing interview for you guys, which we don't do a lot of interviews. We did one with Nick. I think that was the last one we did, to be honest. And we've had a few people on, but we've got a really good interview with a guy named Steve Humell. He runs a paranormal investigation team out of West Virginia. He also has an interesting museum, and he's on YouTube also, his investigation team is. But right after this, stick around and you get to hear the interview I did with Steve Humell. So, you know, me and Jason, always trying to give you guys more. That's what we try to do. Try to give you guys more.
We try to bring peace, love, happiness.
Yeah. I got more interviews coming for you guys, so just hold on.
I mean, when you have 1 million viewers like we do, it's a big responsibility, man. It's a lot of burden on our shoulders.
Yeah. You know who
like
else
our
has
shit,
1 million
review
views?
our shit, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, give us a like. Follow us on Spotify,
I mean, tell
Keep your reviews coming in that I suck hot ass on my own.
Tell your friends and family, how these guys are reconnected healers.
Yeah. Make sure you message me on...
fucking Reiki-ing us over the fucking radio waves.
Make sure you message me on Facebook some more and tell me how when I'm by myself it sucks big hot balls. Please.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Well, yeah. It should be a game.
I love those critiques.
We should see who can send in the funniest joke about how awful Brian is by himself. That would be funny. Be creative.
Yeah, please. Please, take a few shots before you do it. I mean, might as well. But it's been fun, guys, and like I said, stick around, and we will get to the interview right after this. But other than that, we will see you next time.
Later.
Hey, everybody, this is Brian. I got Steve on the line, and we got Steve here. He's going to tell us some paranormal stories and talk about his experiences. He runs the paranormal investigation team. So, Steve, how's it going?
Doing pretty good. How about you?
Oh, I'm not doing too bad today, really. I haven't even told Jason about this. This is the funny part. Jason has no idea about this interview. I'm going to drop it on him here in a couple days. Because he doesn't, Jason doesn't run the Facebook, I do, even though it's under both our names. But Jason has no idea about this, so I'm hoping I know you'll be on one of the next 3 we produce within the next 3 weeks. I just don't know which one it'll be because we have a bunch of them planned. So I don't know which of the 3 we're going to put you on, but I'm going to put you on the end of a shorter one that we're going to do here in a couple weeks. But go ahead, Steve. I'm going to turn it over to you. You had some paranormal experiences. Go ahead and talk to us.
Well, we'll just kind of start it off. Again, my name is Steve Humell. I've been investigating the paranormal for, I'd say, right around 15 years now, give or take a few months maybe. Of course, with a few childhood experiences that kind of started the origins of being interested in ghosts and creepy stuff, I would say, my true interest and passion for the research aspect of it started when I became a tour guide at the former West Virginia State Penitentiary here in Moundsville, West Virginia.
Oh, I bet you
that's also how I've come to meet my teammates, if you will, three of my best friends, Ryan Zackrell, Dave Keir, and Jason McKinney. Our long story short, we decided to take our love of the paranormal and our love of filmmaking and unite them into doing paranormal documentary series on YouTube. We started. I can honestly say we started doing that before it got popular, and not a lot of people took to it right away because not a lot of people wanted to sit around for a half hour to an hour for a full-length production documentary on investigations. But as of the last few years, it's really picked up for us. We're very proud of that. Also, during this time is when I started, I had a few businesses of my own, and one of them, I had a diner, and I had an extra room, and that's where I started the Archive of the Afterlife, which is my paranormal museum. My original budget was $50, and started collecting people's ghost stories, opinions, anything involving the paranormal. So when people would come in to eat, they could order their food and go check out the museum while they waited for their food. So it's kind of how it got started. And again, another long story short, that's how the museum kind of outlasted my business ventures, and I've had it since October of 2011. So it's continually grown, from a very small poker room to right now, presently being in a house of 11 rooms, and all rooms are being used.
Now, do you let people take tours of the museum and stuff like that?
Yeah, right now, because we had to relocate at the beginning of last year as an emergency move, so where we're at now is kind of farther away from where I live, so instead of being open pretty much all week, I'm only open Fridays and Saturdays 1 to 7, but we also offer half and full night private investigations as well.
Oh, and do you have haunted objects in the museum and stuff like that you guys have got, or what?
Absolutely, yeah. That's one of the main things I went to school for was church ministries, and I just finished up a spiritual warfare and demonology program from a college seminary in Louisiana. So I do a lot with house blessings and helping people with problems, spiritual problems with their, either them personally or with, maybe an item that's in their house. So a lot of the items have been collected by myself or mailed into to the archives. So we have a haunted doll room. We have a haunted relic room. There's an infirmary asylum room, which are items from asylums or infirmaries. We also have a room called the dark room. And the dark room is an optional room for people. And basically it contains items that were used in or around exorcisms, demonic cases, just anything malevolent. We keep it separate and, again, make it an optional room for people to visit.
Right. Well, so you said you do investigation stuff like that. I bet you have a lot of wild stories about that. So start telling the audience about some of the stories you got about those.
Well, I'll try to go through the old file cabinet here in my head.
Oh, okay.
Like I said, my friends and I, we've been doing PQ for about 9 years now, but we've investigated together for right about 16 or 17 altogether. We all met working or volunteering at the former West Virginia State Penitentiary, and we shared so many experiences there. We could probably write two huge books. And some of the other places we've investigated that had some really cool stories would be the Moon River Brewery in Savannah, Georgia, the Conjuring House in Rhode Island, the USS North Carolina down there in Wilmington. And a lot of the stories range between, full and partial shadows, physical touch. But one of the ones that stands out to me, just off the top of my head amongst many, would be what happened at the Moon River Brewery in Savannah, Georgia. We got to the location like we always do. We like to investigate between 1 and 3 people. We shoot our B-roll around the city or wherever we can, and then we get ready to start the investigation. So at some point during the investigation, we were down in the basement, which is the old bar there at Moon River, and Dave started acting very, very distant, which is not really like Dave. We're normally all vocal where we're going, what we're thinking, what we're doing, especially during investigation, so we're all alert of what's going on. And so he starts walking about the basement and then upstairs. I follow him because Ryan and the other people there were gathering up the gear to take up. And I told Ryan quietly, so I want to follow Dave and see what's going on. So we got up to the first floor, and Dave just kind of walked around and just kind of looked at things, and he didn't say anything, very, very odd. And then eventually Ryan and the other guests with us, they made it up to the first floor, which is like the restaurant floor. Mm-hmm. And at this point, we're all noticing Dave's acting weird, not normal. And he eventually starts walking up to the second floor, but when he looks back at us, he has a very weird smile, and he laughed in a very an unnerving way. And mind you, he's walking through this entire building, no flashlight, no light source. It's pitch black, like he's lived there his entire life. So I knew at that point, and everyone else I'm sure picked up one of this. He's been definitely influenced by an entity there. Mm-hmm. Now we're going to go back a little bit during our walkthrough of the location. This is going to kind of lead up to what's going on here. While doing our walkthrough, getting us acquainted with the building, our guide points out up in the attic that there's this huge brick circle on the floor. And inside the circle, which is about 6 foot in diameter, there's 4 bricks laying down in a very weird, like T-like pattern, like the letter T. And of course, me being me, I go over and I said, well, what's this? What's the circle for? And she said, the tour guide goes, well, one of our kitchen employees thought it was a good idea to come up, set this up, and do spirit board sessions. And I'm like, that's why the entire time I'm feeling a little bit, unnerved, like, something's wrong, the typical feeling you get. So me being me, I asked, well, at the end of the night, is it okay, can I have one of the bricks? And I told her that I own a museum. Mm-hmm. Not knowing, again, what's going to happen, with Dave. So now let's come to pass. We'll fast forward back to Dave acting weirder walking through the building by himself. So eventually he makes it all the way up to through the first floor, second floor, the third floor, which is like the main floor, and then he gets up into the attic, which I'm following the whole way. And at some point, he kind of comes to, and he said, I don't, to the point I don't feel right. And he doesn't want to be recorded. He and I and our friend Ryan, especially and Jason, were always worried about, we don't want to come across like we're faking stuff. So some stuff, if we feel that if we don't have a way to prove what we're feeling or what we're seeing, then we normally don't include it.
Right.
Just for the sake of argument. We run through our investigations with a fine-tooth comb.
Right.
And have the utmost confidence that the episodes will turn out decent because Ryan graduated from Point Park for cinema production. So he knows what he's doing. He knows proper editing. He knows what's a flash from a camera, a glare, lens flare. We run through the gambit. But during this time frame, I purposely left the voice recorder running, so at least whatever is said is going to be recorded. Mm-hmm. We've learned the hard way in most cases. You always want to have something recorded, regardless. And so he went on to say that he felt like he was being influenced by something in the building, and I couldn't help but feel that it was involving that circle, And it turns out my friend Chris, at a much later time, I let him see a picture of it, and he said his opinion, it looked like a goetic summoning circle.
Oh, yeah.
And we went all the way in using Google Maps, looking at the building and looking which way the T was facing that was inside the circle, which was facing towards the west. So he said his opinion, the guy doing it didn't close the circle properly, and because his back was towards the east, which is towards the light, mm-hmm. he was more than likely has potentially summoned a much darker spirit.
Mm.
So this night leads up to us all in the attic, and I'm the only person in the group that's actually, that really confides in prayer per se. But we all get along well, respect each other. So when I have a couple of friends of mine that are comfortable with me praying for them, I figure it's something severe enough that it needs done. So we all kind of put our hands around our shoulders in like a little circle, and I start praying. And just the intensity of the energy, it was so oppressive, so strong that we all three had our eyes were watering at the end of the prayer, to the point where our guest, how does her name, Pataya? She started screaming. We don't really know why, but I thought, this was a very genuine, scream of being afraid.
Mm-hmm.
And what had happened, and I had heard it, and David heard it, and Ryan didn't. As I was praying, there was a very loud, disembodied hissing sound that came out from around us and just kind of dissipated upwards. Now, one weird thing that happened after all this part, there's actually two parts to this. After part one of this episode, which is called The Most Haunted City in America, that was the title of it. Mm-hmm. Dave, on that recording, the audio recording, had said that he had seen a black shadow up in the rafters of the attic. However, that was not included in part one. Mm-hmm. What made it weird is a lady in the message feed of part one said, "Did you guys see that black mass up in the rafters?" So we didn't tell anybody about that. So how would she know about that?
Right.
We found that very, very interesting.
Right.
And then in part two, what we ended up doing is the brick that I was allowed to have, I actually took it around the block to UPS and mailed it home because we wanted to do an unboxing at the museum location to see if anything would actually follow it to a separate location.
Right.
And long story short, we had 3 cameras running, voice recorders running. We had a 360 running, REM pod, K2, anything we had running, and including my pedal box. Mm-hmm. So we have it set up in room 2 of the old museum, and it's still in the box. I still haven't even cut the tape to open it yet from the UPS store. And Ryan goes close to the camera to describe to the viewers as they watch the video of what we're doing so they understand what's going on in the video. And in the process of him talking, that same loud hissing sound traveled throughout the entire room, just embodied, and we picked it up there.
Whoa.
Even louder than we did at Moon River Brewery.
Whoa.
And as I was getting ready to cut the box a few minutes later to open up to reveal the brick, through the pedal box, which was quiet the entire time, pretty much, it said Steve, which is my name.
Right.
And as I was going to start cutting more onto it, it said Dave's name as well.
Whoa.
So that would definitely be one experience that stands out to me. You know, not just at one place, but two different places involving the same haunting.
Well, they say that, bricks and stone, stuff like that can absorb energy and paranormal energy, and no matter where you move them, yeah, it'll still be.
I'm a firm believer in the stone tape theory. I actually have a lot of bricks in my museum I collected because some of these places get torn down, and some of them have, one of them, like the Emmett House, unfortunately burnt down. So I have quite a few bricks now, and plus sod samples from haunted locations.
Right. So you said you have dolls there at your museum too. Did you personally get those, or people send them to you, or was that part of your investigations, or what?
Some of the dolls get brought in and donated. Some get mailed in. Some I've removed myself from locations for people. There's quite a few now. When I moved, I didn't realize how many dolls I actually had till I'm sort of unboxing them.
So are they all possessed, haunted? What would you say is going on with those dolls and stuff?
I would say some are more active than others. When I tell people, especially people from the general public, I use three different forms of defining an item, just so it's easier to understand for them.
Right.
I use the word charged. And I categorize anything that has shown signs of like a K2 reading or EMF reading. I use the word haunted, because everyone has heard of that word, obviously. If there's been evidence involving meters going off, but also evidence of an intelligent response. So I kind of separate the two with charged and haunted that way.
Right.
So it makes it easier for them to understand.
Now, do you ever have any of these?
I also use the word, we'll use the term cursed if it involves like demonic type of energy.
Oh, like an evil energy, right. So do these dolls move around, or like, do they just give energy?
Yeah, we've had some move, some have caused what we feel scratches on people.
Oh, yeah. So do you do anything to, like, as a protection against these items, or, like, anything of that nature to protect the museum or anything like that, to keep them in there, to keep the entities in the...
Well, the best form I feel of helping people that I've learned through seminary is, one, it's always good to continually teach yourself and acquire more knowledge of on this topic, spiritual protection. In my opinion, of course, there's hundreds of different beliefs of what works, what doesn't work for spiritual protection. I use 100% scripture and prayer.
Right.
I don't use anything else. For me, I'm not, again, because I was asked, my opinion, my view, I rely in the name of Jesus Christ only. I don't even use holy water. I don't even use salt, nothing like that. I'm not going to use something that I feel my God created. I'm just going to go straight to the source. And to me, it's like, you want to use a little plastic toy hammer, or do you want to use a sledgehammer?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I got you.
And that's just me. That's not. That's just how I view it, and it's what's worked for me. I mean, my late younger brother went through a very bad spiritual bout, and I learned through that hardship of what works. And I'm not gonna, if I abandon that, then I'm not being truthful to myself, nor the entity that I worship. So.
Right. So what happened with your younger brother, if you don't mind talking about that? Like, what happened? How did he go through a spiritual bout there?
it's kind of all the spiritual about. Okay, he had, we both, processed our own, in our own way, the divorce that my family went through at a much younger age.
Right.
And he just went through a lot of, I think it never went past the oppression level, if any, it barely hit that.
Oh, okay.
But he would hear and see things, but it got to the point, when he got older, he would have that happen, but it was always good.
Mm-hmm.
It would be like he was seeing angels instead of the dark side of it.
Well, yeah, I'd rather see angels than the other side myself.
Yeah, once we got him off all the stupid medications the doctor put him on, he started doing a lot better.
Oh, well, yeah. Well, it's good that he's doing better. Well, Steve, this has been...
Well, he's passed away, but yeah, he's...
Oh, he's passed away. Well, I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah.
But this has been fascinating. Tell everybody out there about your YouTube channel and where they can get a hold of you and all of that.
Oh, absolutely. I appreciate that. Yeah, definitely, guys. If you want, jump on YouTube, check out Paranormal Quest. That is a YouTube channel that I co-found with my three best friends, Ryan Zackrell, Dave Buter, and Jason McKinney. Absolutely check out our Facebook page for Paranormal Quest. We'll be putting some updates in August. I can't remember all the details of it. We're actually hosting a Paracon within the former West Virginia State Penitentiary. So we'll have Heather Taddy there from Alien Highways and the old Paranormal State. The Foreman brothers from Paranormal Nightmare will be there speaking. We'll be speaking there. It's going to be a great time with a bunch of vendors, a lot of good food. And I'm pretty sure there's going to be some tours and stuff throughout the old penitentiary there. So definitely check it out. And all information, updates involving my museum, Archive of the Afterlife, all the up-to-date updates will be on my Facebook page and or my website, which is www.archive-afterlife.weebly.com.
Well, like I said, Steve, it's been amazing talking to you, and maybe we'll talk to you some other time, but thank you for calling in and talking to me. I appreciate it, man.
Hey, man, it was a blast.
All right, talk to you later, brother.
Hey, take care.
All right, bye.